Aloha, folks, and welcome to this edition of Five Questions. It is a program that airs right here on the Hamada program and also on the homepage of HawaiiReporter.com. It's an opportunity to get together with folks who are making a difference in our community. And delighted that our guest for this session is Matt DiGeronimo. He is running for the United States Congressional District 2 to serve as your congressman. And Matt, thank you for taking the time. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, Rick. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you for that very much. Let's jump in because running for Congress, boy, we'd like to know more about you and also what your motivation is for serving as congressman.
Absolutely. I think at the heart of the matter is I'm genetically predisposed to seek out positions of service. In growing up, my mother was a school teacher. My father was always involved in the local athletics. My mom remains a public school teacher. I pursued a profession as a Navy officer, and I was always very proud of that role of duty to the country. In fact, post 9/11, although I by trade I am a submarine officer, I volunteered to go to the Middle East, and I spent about a year and a half over there immediately or several months after 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm retired and also working with small business owners, I just kind of I see where the direction our country is going, and I really think that I can positively influence that direction because I'm not comfortable with the writing on the wall in regard pretty much across the board, and I think that. I think we kind of need to send a message to Congress of saying, look, the people that we have selected generally are not doing a good job, and I think that maybe we need to get some more people that are a little bit more man of the streets type, and combined with some different experiences might be better because obviously what we're doing isn't working. I think the most recent numbers of approval level of our Congress is like less than 5%.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is just it's almost like we need to hit the restart button. I mean, I think the people of America are doing a wonderful job in the things that they do, but I do believe that their leaders are letting them down, and I would like to participate in changing that.
Again, full disclosure that Matt and I actually do work together on the radio with a radio program called the Smith Floyd Water Cooler. And Matt DiGeronimo's name must be familiar, not only because of that, but other presence in the community as well. So let's go to question number two, and that is the impact that you believe you would have if, in fact, successful in winning the second congressional district as a U.S. congressman.
I think that I can influence policy for the nation and then more specifically Hawaii across the board with respect to uh, with respect to public policy. My recent experiences post Navy have been with small business owners, and in Hawaii, our economy is pretty much reliant upon the operation of small businesses exclusively, but yet we routinely come in as the 50th friendliest state to do business in, and that's not okay. I mean, we're completely overtaxed. We're encumbered by administrative requirements that fuel a bureaucracy that has kind of lost its way, and in the last several years, I've dealt with hundreds, if not thousands, of small business owners. I think I really have my finger on the pulse of what is needed in regards to allowing them to do what they do, which in this case is actually pretty simple because it has to do with getting the government out of their way. And I think that not only do I have the perspective, I have the courage to say that.
Right.
Additionally, I think my experience, I know my experience in the military brings a very unique skill set to the country and also to the state of Hawaii. My time in the Middle East, I actually spent I spent a lot of time as what was called the regional engagement officer, and I visited every country in the Middle East with the exception of Iran on diplomatic missions. And I think I have a very, very good sense of the culture of the Middle East and sort of our current situation in the Middle East, and much more so than just and anyone that would be my opponent or anyone that has previously held this seat.
We're talking with Matt DiGeronimo. He is candidate for U.S. Congress in the 2nd District here in Hawaii, and you're dialed into this edition of 5 Questions. Let's shift over, Matt, if you wouldn't mind, because when we have polling information around the country, and even here at home, the economy dominates just about every level of discussion. Given that, what's your take on the U.S. economy specifically, and as a U.S. Congressman, how would you like to see the approach to addressing our economic issues?
Sure. I think the approach needs to be back to basics and transparency. Those are the two things that I think are just completely lost. We all realize we're in a bad situation, and I think my impression of the Congress right now is that everyone's just trying to play a little bit of a shell game in terms of covering their own behinds, looking out for the next election, rather than just simply saying like, look, we need to pull together. And forget Democrat, forget Republican. All that is meaningless when we are running the world's strongest economy with principles that wouldn't pass a third grader's sense of common sense. And I think and it's tough, I think, for our country's leaders to just tell their constituents like, look, we've made a mess of things, a mess, and we can continue to pretend that complex legislation or complex fiscal policies will solve the problem, but at best they'll kick the can down the road. I think what I bring to the table is an ability and a willingness to speak very candidly and frankly, both on the floor of Congress and also to the constituents. I mean, you talk about back to basics here. I mean, it's almost silly that we're talking about this, but how about we start with a balanced budget, like every household in America has to do, like every business has to do. How about we start there? And if every once in a while that means having to deliver bad news, well then so be it. But on the other hand, the other thing I can bring to the table is as an advocate of small business owners in Hawaii and nationwide, we all realize that the dollars that you spend is not directly proportional to the result that you get. And so I don't, by cutting budgets or by cutting certain programs, I do not believe that the end final product to the consumer for the services that the government provides, have to degrade at all. In fact, it can improve. But we obviously need to spend less. And just because I know how this rolls, where the other side of the aisle often likes to paint that answer as to say that I'd be in favor of cutting benefits to the people. That's not true. Any social contracts that have already been made, such as Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, military benefits, they need to stay intact as is, and we can fix the program starting with those who have not yet entered those social contracts.
Matt DiGeronimo, our guest for this edition of 5 Questions, and transition to question number 4. Appreciating your service to our country as always, Matt, thank you for that very much indeed.
Thank you.
National defense is a huge issue, of course, and some would say a core priority of our nation.
Absolutely.
Can you give us an assessment of our strength and or vulnerability at this point? And in your role as a U.S. Congressman, how would you like to see the direction of our United States policy move?
Well, again, I'd like to get back to basics and with an increased level of transparency. And when I say back to basics, I mean I believe that our military forces are for the defense of our country and to improve national security, not to become the policemen of the world. And so, the advantage that we have is in our military, and that's not the equipment that we use or the machines that we have or the weapon systems we have. It's the people. It's the soldiers and the sailors are the best in the world, the best that has ever been, and that will always be our strength. And those guys and those men and women will do whatever is asked of them, and then some, and then some, and then some. But I'm telling you, they're at the physical breaking point. I mean, we're stretched so thin that the only people that can really understand the extent of which the spread exists is at the deck plate. To talk to the gunnery sergeants, talk to the chief petty officers. I'm telling you, we're stretched way, way, way too thin. So I think it's consolidating. It's focusing on what's most important, having the courage the moral courage to be able to say to the rest of the world, no, we cannot answer every single problem. And I'd also like to see us get back to basics of the Constitution. The Constitution has very clear guidance on how we use military force, and that role, that authority rests with the Congress to declare war. If we want to use military force, I would encourage my peers to, let's declare a war, let's fight the war, let's win the war, and then let's come home. You don't have to be you don't have to have a PhD in world history to show examples of civilizations or empires that spread themselves too thin, and then eventually, in retrospect, that was at the heart of their collapse.
There's also, just a sidebar, there's also a moral issue as well, with social issues, things of that nature that were contributory to the devolution of other civilizations. Some would say that the United States is mirroring some of that in relaxing areas of social conscience, including things such as abortion and other areas like that. I know this is kind of a sidebar question, but from a social standpoint, how would you view your role, and what would you encourage our nation to gravitate towards?
Sure. I mean, I think I have some very deeply rooted beliefs about appropriate social behavior. I am very faith-based in the decisions that I make in my family, and the way I behave as a human being and as a citizen of this earth. But I do not believe that the federal government can legislate morality. It's just not the role of the federal government to tell. Well, in my opinion, it's not the role of the United States government to tell citizens how to live their lives. I mean, Benjamin Franklin, had said that, a man who chooses security over liberty deserves neither. And what we've seen in the recent times is we've been trying to sort of put these sort of social constraints on our citizens in the name of security, and I think we've lost sight of what it means, what liberty means. I mean, liberty means the ability to do what one wants, as long as you're not infringing upon others' rights. And I'm not opposed to the state governments placing mandates on social behavior, but I really think the federal government has gone way, way, way too far in trying to legislate morality. And furthermore, it's just not successful. And when I say morality, I'm talking about social programs too. I mean, Lyndon Johnson declared a war on poverty in 1960, and he said we will spend as much money as we need to get rid of poverty. That was in 1960, and we've continued to just spend money and money and money. And I go out of my way to help people that are less fortunate than me every single day. But we've clearly seen that throwing money at these social problems are not fixing them.
Final question for you, Matt. And Matt DiGeronimo is our guest for this edition of 5 Questions. Matt is a candidate for United States Congressional District 2 to serve as your congressman in CD2. Matt, I just briefly want to get your take on the future. I know it's very difficult. We don't have crystal ball in studio, but what do you foresee? Where do you see the United States of America in the very near future?
Well, I think that the backbone of America is just amazingly strong, and that backbone is composed of some just absolutely brilliant and industrious people. That spirit continues to exist today. I just think that the people who continue to support the economy and to propel the economy forward, collectively, a certain percentage of them are going to have to put down their trade, put down the thing that's their calling, and sacrifice some time to come back to the government and, dare I say, become the adult supervision and just fix ourselves up a little bit, because we've made a mess. And the right people are not heading to politics. I mean, this idea of a lifelong politician is relatively new in our country and certainly in society, and it just made a mess of things. The motivations are not aligned properly. I think we need to get back to pulling leadership out of the ranks, and these people truly accepting their roles as a public servant, such as the role that I would like to play. I have no desire to have a career in politics. I'm looking to spend some years as a public servant, and I think that if we have enough people that are willing to do that, then I think we're going to get right back on track. I think we'll fix our economic problems, we'll consolidate our military force, and we'll really cement our position as the world's greatest country. If that doesn't happen, I mean, I think the writing is on the wall. You cannot spend your way out of this economic crisis that we're in, and unfortunately, I think that if we don't see that, we're going to see our national defense spread so thin that we become vulnerable to an attack, which you never really can predict who that's going to come from or why. I mean, the history is full of unexpected events like that. But I think the economy and our military, our national security are at risk in a real present, a clear and present way. And I think people like myself need to come off the sidelines and get in the ring and fix it.
How can folks learn more about you?
Well, we definitely need support right now. I mean, this is I'm not a lifelong politician. I don't have years of building this structure. I need as many people to contribute and volunteer. Please visit us at MD4 Congress. So MD4Congress.com. And you can read more about how I stand on the issues, and also I need your help. I need your votes. I need your contributions. I need your time. This is not about me. This is about the people of Hawaii. This is about the people of our country, and that's how I intend to run my campaign.
Matt DiGeronimo, our guest for this edition of 5 Questions. Matt, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Rick.